because it just fits the vibe, the void. Oh. Um, but this is my experience with the Punch Out series, leaving me in a void multiple times. And I'm just gonna talk about like how did we get to this point? How does it leave a void? How does it leave like a dark hole or whatever the fuck you want to call it in your heart or in my heart, right? So I started playing Punch Out this year. I think it was back in February, March, maybe April of this year. And I remember the first time I played, you know, what's up, Lucas? Welcome to stream. Um, I remember when I first played in that vlog I made. I think it was vlog 31, either vlog 31 or a different vlog or earlier vlog than that, right? Because keep in mind, most of the vlogs I made were like this year because I just kept making them over and over again. So I don't know. So just don't get on me too much, but just keep in mind the timeline, right? So after I played it that first time, I didn't look back into that series until a few weeks later when I just said, you know what? Why don't I make gaming videos, about our journey going through the NES Punch Out? Not Mike Tyson's Punch Out, but let's make a series going through Mr. Dream's Punch Out, Mike Tyson or Punch Out for the NES, like the rebranded one that Nintendo always promotes all the time nowadays because they can't get the one with Mike Tyson in it, right? I decided to play that, and my love for Punch Out as a series kind of like began, there at the NES. And I just started playing on YouTube. I know I was really bad because I was using tons of save states on regular Bald Bowl, and every fighter I was using save states. You guys can literally watch it for yourselves how bad I was. Y'all can also watch how much I've improved since then with the Punch Out NES speedrun videos. But anyways, that I made where I was just doing runs after runs. But anyways, so I remember it took me a very long time to beat every fighter in the original Punch Out for the NES. I remember I gave up on Mr. Dream after a while, and I realized, after I beat him and stuff and moved on to later games, or I moved on to later games before that, you know, uh, I just remember like playing Punch Up for the NES and how addicting it was. And after I understood all the mechanics, I understood how to dodge, I understood how to fight everyone, and I just wanted so much more of it because I fell in love with this series, Punch Out, man, for the NES. I loved it. And then I discovered that this wasn't even the original Mike Tyson when I started doing research into the series. And then I found out Mike Tyson's Punch Out, where Mike Tyson's actually the final boss. Finding that out for the first time was so fucking rad, and I wanted to challenge him. Apparently, even though, it's the same fight as Mr. Dream, I don't care if give a fuck. Later on, I did challenge Mr. Dream a while later, then beat him, obviously, with save states and shit. And then I did the same with Mike Tyson later on. Only did that once, never again. Original Mike Tyson would destroy anyone. Yeah, Grim Destroyer, you're not wrong. You are not wrong, my friend. You are not wrong, right? But I remember after I did that, I think after a while I went to Super Punch Out. I didn't like the game at first, but it was slowly coming over me that I started like really liking the game more and more, like the feeling of it. I started liking more and more. If you guys remember Super Punch Out, I didn't do a playthrough on it until much later, but I remember I did a playthrough a few times where I beat the game. You save states and shit, and then I did speed runs, like runs or how long would I last. Playing after a while. I'm just gonna sum it all up. I'm gonna sum up a lot of it, right? Just not doing the whole timeline because then we'd be here forever, right? But I remember I hated Super Punch Out like for the Super Nintendo, but then I really loved Super Punch Out for the Super Nintendo later on after I started learning more of its mechanics. Even though I still feel like Little Mac should have been the main fighter in that game, you know. I don't know. I just loved Super Punch Out. I loved fighting Mr. Sandman, Masked Muscle, and everybody else in the game that was brand new and also old that came back. It was really cool playing Super Punch Out for the Super Nintendo. I remember I loved playing that after a while, but I was getting pissed at it a lot. So was NES Punch I was getting pissed at about. I mean, just remember me not being able to dodge Mr. Sandman's Dreamland Express, and we had a whole arc of not knowing how to dodge it, and then every significant run I did after someone told me left, 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 and I gave it a try, and it actually worked. Um, you know, I never fumbled Mr. Dream's punch again. Mr. Dream's, Mr. Sandman's Dreamland Express punch. I never failed to dodge that one. And then I remembered, I didn't play. I think I played Wii like after Super Punch Out. I think because there was no Punch Out for the DS and there was no Punch Out for the Game Boy. Because I remember those were the big ones, like Mike Titans Punch Out for the NES, Super Punch Out, and then after Super Punch Out, it was, I think it was Wii. I think Wii was like the last game, right? And you guys know the history of Punch Out Wii, man. I can't tell you how much I wanted that game so bad. Punch Out Wii was like, it felt like I was rediscovering Punch Out all over again with how much I loved that game. I remember the arc of Punch Out Wii on this channel. It was a legendary fucking thing I had going on. Probably one of the best things I had on this channel all year, to be honest with you guys. So, I remember Punch Out Wii like it was yesterday. I remember getting into the series, getting so ecstatic, and then, finding out that Punch Out on the Wii, I have a Wii, that's one of the last games in the series, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, that's the last one, I want to go on a bang, and yes, I did play the arcade games, but, for Switch, because they have the Retro Archives Punch Out Arcade and Super Punch Out Arcade, which those were ranging from okay to pretty okay, but they're not like Punch Out Wii or Punch Out NES or Super Punch Out in terms of experience. Obviously, Super Punch Out for the Super Nintendo is closer to those arcade titles than, NES Punch Out and Punch Out Wii, but anyways. So, when I played Punch Out Wii, like when my brother ordered it, I remember waiting religiously for days on end just to play the game. And I remember when I first played, I was so excited to actually own Punch Out Wii, because I remember in that time when I didn't own it, I would look up knockout animation videos. I would look up how all the animations worked, or what did characters say to one another, like what's the interaction before the fight with Von Kaiser, Disco Kid, everybody. I would look all that stuff up, man, and obviously not know how to beat them, but I'd look up just the animations, just watching them, or watching other people just freaking knock out opponents, and I wanted to do the same shit too. So when I finally got my hands on Punch Out Wii, it was like one of the greatest things ever I ever fucking touched on this earth, to be real, other than my cat Muff, my family and stuff. It was one of the best games I ever played. And I say that because going through that contender mode, getting my ass beat by Bald Bull, Great Tiger, Mr. Sandman, being afraid of Don Flamenco and everybody, man, during that Punch Out Wii arc. It was an arc, man, that everybody that was watching me at that time will never forget, man. And it breaks my heart because after doing like contender and title defense and having that long ass arc of Punch Out and stuff, and then discovering that there were arcade games, and after playing all of those, I don't know, to me, something just felt wrong after doing all of that. And it wasn't immediate, but like I can feel this sadness in my heart, knowing that after Punch Out Wii, after beating it, after doing everything I wanted to do in the game, there was nothing new to the Punch Out series I could consume left, and this is where the void starts taking me. This is what I mean by leaves me in the void multiple times, but I just sit on my bed sometimes or on my thing, and especially a long time after all those games were done, and I would put on if Punch Out had lyrics, and I'd listen to that, and sometimes I would just hop on Punch Out Wii just because I listened to that song for like 5 seconds, or I would literally start streaming Punch Out Wii runs because of that, listening to that song just for a few times on loop because I love if Punch Out had lyrics by Smashed Bit or yeah, Mashed Bits or whatever the channels or animation smash or smash animation bits or animated smash bits, whatever his name is, right? I listened to that song all the time and I wanted to box everyone all the fucking time, bro. I would do NES punch out runs just so I wouldn't have to feel this sense of void. I would do all these NES punch out runs, super punch out runs, punch out Wii runs. I love the series so much that I did so much just to keep it alive in my head that, and you guys could tell I was getting desperate because when I started playing all the Punch Out, well, not desperate, but when I started playing all the Punch Out ROM hacks, like Mike Tyson's Punch Out Remix 2015 or Fred's Cool Punch Out 1 and 2, when I started playing those and all the good ROM hacks of Punch Out, even though they were just NES ROM hacks, right? Never Super Punch Out ROM hacks or anything. It felt good that Punch Out stayed with me a little bit longer, even though a lot of those fights were just retooled or reskinned fights. Robert Tiger AJ, welcome to stream. Hi, how you doing? I remember like playing those ROM hack fights, even though a lot of those guys were just reskinned or actual new fighters. Some of them were new fighters, but others were actually like reskinned, boxers and stuff of, Mike Tyson's Punch Out characters. Like one dude can just be a Mr. Sandman reskin or something. But I remember even after playing all those ROM hacks, I couldn't help but like think about this void that Punch Out is leaving me in because, again, after playing all those ROM hacks and stuff, I felt like there was nothing to do in this series, and this series would just make me sit there being like, I want to box. I want to go in there and I want to fight again. Not the same dudes all over again. You do your best, man. Just keep doing my strings, and you're probably on the best YouTubers in my opinion. Hey, thank you, Robert Tiger AJ. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad I'm one of your favorites. That actually makes me really happy. But back to what I was saying. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate that, man. Much love to you, man. But back to what I was saying. After all those Punch Out games, I couldn't help myself but feel like I'm in an endless void of wanting to box something up sometimes, And I even told this to my viewers. I even started playing Punch Out scratch games too. And after a while, it got so samey to me that it just felt the same as the ROM hacks, And I don't know, this want to fight people, like not actual people, like actually want to get in somewhere and then go box them up, but like that idea of wanting to box new fighters in a brand new Punch Out game, in a brand new arena, an older Little Mac, or just as old Little Mac and Doc Lewis, like they never fucking left. For some reason, for a long time, ever since I got into the series, ever since I beat all the games and stuff, I started having this void in my heart where I just think of wanting to box. And this falls into all those other Punch-Out likes I played, like Wade Hickson's Counter Punch, that's why, Wade Hickson's Counter Punch, great example. That's why Thunder Ray exists. That's why Bad Boys Boxing exists, and so many of these other Punch-Out boxing-like games exist. I even played President's Elections Knockout, or I tried playing all the fan games of Punch-Out, man. I really tried to really itch that Punch-Out feel of wanting to box up new fighters and be interesting and be cool and whatnot, but none of them never really fit that need. And I've mentioned this multiple times in multiple different my experience with Punch Out, mind you, like my experience with Punch Out likes, my experience with like waiting to counter punch and stuff. I've made tons of videos on them. I've made videos on those individual games too, except for the presidential one. I haven't really made a video on that, but that game. But I probably will one day. But my point is like every single Punch Out game I've ever played that wasn't a Punch Out game, but that was more of a Punch Out like, it always left me feeling more empty because it's like this is not Punch Out. As much as it tries to be Punch Out, it's never Punch Out unless I see Little Mac, Doc Lewis being in their world and these motherfuckers come to their world and box it up. Then it's Punch Out. But until then, it's not Punch Out. It's just a game trying to be Punch Out. And it's like I can never satisfy that itch anymore. Like even with Punch Out Wii and all the games I've ever played in Punch Out, you know, I try my best to scratch this itch, right, that I have, or this need, or to try to patch up that void. But it doesn't work anymore because I fought all these guys, you know, Glass Joe to Mr. Sandman or Super Punch Out, Gabby J, all the way to fucking, you know, Aaron Ryan or Heikki Kagero or, you know, Mad Clown or whatever. I fought all these guys so many times to the point where none of them bring me like some sort of satisfaction in terms of fighting them anymore. It's not the same. And it makes me sad because I'm really trapped, it feels like, in this void. And I tried even playing Wii Sports Boxing to, I'm just leaving this video black. Watermelon BS. I'm just leaving this video black. I'm right in the same room. Yeah, I'm good. It's just that I'm just talking right now. But, it's just, I'm so tired a little bit, you know? And I know I know I'm not the only one. I thought I was a content farm. No, I'm not a content farm, man. If I was a content farm, we would be seeing all sorts of characters in one video. You know, if I was one of those content farms, I would be like, let's throw SMG4 on the screen with no context, or all sorts of other characters, because that's what they do. But back to what I was saying. I know I'm not the only one who probably feels this way about the Punch Out series, leaving a void in their heart, and that's why you go to a different series to kind of try and somewhat fill that void, you know, or don't think about it. But it's kind of hard for me not to think about the Punch Out series for multiple reasons, because this series got me places, man. Like, it. Thank you, Watermelon BS. I appreciate that. Like, I'm not joking when I say this. This series brought me places. Like, multiple people subscribe to me because of, you know, my Punch Out videos, my Punch Out gameplay videos and stuff, and my experience Punch Out videos. You know, people discovered me for the first time because of my rage comps or my let's play of Punch Out Wii. You know, it's like I can't stop thinking about it because of what Punch Out did for me as a series. I can't stop thinking about it because it's like, damn, I want to box, but I want to do it in the traditional Punch Out way. And I can't lie, there's so many times where I think like I did during those Punch Out videos, where I was always in fight or flight mode when fighting some of these guys, and what it did on my fucking psyche a little bit. You know, I mean, I remember being so fucking mad I couldn't beat Don Flamenco. I kicked the sprinkler, man. Or I remember being so mad that I couldn't beat Super Macho Man title defense. I felt like some of these guys were legit impossible and I couldn't see any of their moves. Like, It was such a different era for me, man. I loved it, but at the same time, obviously, it was kind of fucking me over because, like, I'd be so in it, so in it to the point where it was like, holy fuck, you know, my dad and my brother didn't really like how in it I was with Punch Out Wii anyway at times, you know, because I take these fights so seriously. I wouldn't even treat it as a video game. It would be me versus them. Not Little Mac. It would just be me versus them. Me versus Soda Pop Pizza. Me versus Mr. Sandman. Me versus fucking... And all the shaking and the sweating and the night... I had, like, literal nightmares I had of Mr. Sandman fucking boxing me the fuck out one night. I've had all these moments, you know, with this series, good and bad moments with this series, man. And it's like these are like some of the reasons why I can't stop thinking about it on a regular basis, because no game has kind of gave me that sort of itch, has gave me that sort of like feeling like of wanting to go back in the ring, of wanting to box it up one more. And that's why I've been like looking up ridiculously like, yo, is there any sort of like way I can play Punch Out? Like, is there any sort of way I could get a new one? Because I would love a new Punch Out from Nintendo themselves. Don't get me wrong, again, the scratch games are good, and the ROM hacks are awesome, but I would really appreciate a brand new feeling, like with a brand new feeling Punch Out game, just to kind of scratch that itch. And don't get me wrong, I'm not in a void every single day, every single hour, because, you know, I got series like Mario and Sonic to kind of not, to keep me, and multiple others to not make me think about Punch Out, but it's like every time I think about boxing, you know, Punch Out or Hachime no Ippo or like the first two, or Rocky, or the first three things I think about when boxing. But, you know, I thought of fucking... You know, but every time I think of boxing, like outside of those two, I gotta go to school. Maybe so. See you later. All right, see you later, Robert. Thank you so much for stopping by, man. You know, like before I got into Ippo, all I knew about boxing was Punch Out, and Punch Out led to me having a better understanding of boxing because I know what a ring is. I know what all this other sort of stuff is. I know two people gotta get in there. I know certain clothing isn't on there. Love your YouTube channel later. Hey, thank you for loving the channel, man. Appreciate you. And someone told me I need a therapist when literally I'm okay. I will support you every day from this channel. Thank you, Watermelon Beers. Appreciate it. Love the channel too. I appreciate it, guys. But it's just my feelings on Punch-Out, and I'm wondering if there's other people as well that feel the same way as me, where it's like, yo, Nintendo just kind of left them in a ditch, you know, for many years. I mean, and it's really cool that Punch-Out, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is gaining some resurgence, you know, because of, you know, Mike Tyson actually fighting Jake Paul, you know, and stuff, and whatnot. But, I don't know. I just feel like that resurgence isn't really going to last long. You know? Like, think about it. I mean, Jake Paul is the face of boxing for right now, and it's not really Mike Tyson anymore or whatever. You know, so it's kind of stupid. But it's whatever, right? I don't know. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get... I mean, I'll get that urge to play Punch-Out again. And even just yesterday, I'm going to be honest, the fight was scripted. I know it was. I knew from the moment I started watching it. But at the same time, especially because Mike said, I don't give a fuck about the legacy anymore. I'm like, oh, he doesn't give a fuck about the legacy? That's how I know he didn't care about losing the fight or not. He really just wanted that fucking bag. I get it. He hasn't been in the sport in 20 years and not interested in it. I know people can change, but it's like, damn, you cannot disrespect your legacy like that, man. You know, I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even do that fight to be scripted. Matter of fact, I probably wouldn't even have fought Jake knowing my age. Not because I'd be afraid, but more because I'm that old, bro. Type shit. But how old are you? I am 22 going into 23 in a month. Because my birthday is January. Early January. January 8th to be exact. But, yeah, I know. I'm an early baby. I'm an early baby, even though I was kind of a preemie. Well, no, not kinda. I am a preemie. Because I was born prematurely. I was gonna be born like I think June or July. That's when I was supposed to be born, but I was preemie. I ended up being born earlier than that. Older than me. Shit, yeah, I know. I know I don't sound it. I don't sound older, or I don't look older than a lot of people once you see my face, but you know, because some people mistake me as a kid all the time, but I really am that age. Unlike low tier God, I don't hide my age. But my point is, it's just, that's really how I feel about the Punch-Out series, man. I love it to death, but I want something new. I want something new, people. I want something new in the Punch-Out series. I want it. I want something new. And if I can get that's something new. By the way, close your eyes / I'm gonna flash the stream a little bit with my face, or with the light. God damn, I've been in the dark for so long, my eyes fucking hurt. Hey, but this is me. This is my face. I wanted to know. But I'm not lying when I say any of this shit, man. I've been thinking this shit, you know, for a long while, and I'm wondering if other Punch-Out fans feel the exact same as me. Or maybe they don't feel the same. They know that there's other boxing games. And another thing that bothers me is that people try to recommend me like other boxing games and stuff to scratch that itch, but it never works. Like, I've tried those other boxing games, you know, those boxing games where it's 3D and you gotta watch where you punch and shit. I am so sorry. By the way, Tim Burns, welcome to the stream. I'm so sorry, but no, dude. It never works out for me. I can't sit there and play. And Waluigi Brinkster, welcome to the stream as well. I can't just sit there and play those other boxing games and treat it as the same as Punch-Out just to scratch that itch. Nah, man. It needs to be reactionary-based gameplay where I dodge, you know, left, right, duck under, fucking face punches, and body shots. Alright? You know, characters need to be testing me on my reaction time, not no 3D boxing where it's like, oh shit, we're walking. And I know that's literally what boxing is, going all around the ring, not just in one spot the whole fight and just do it like that. But it's like, that's the boxing I need, aka the boxing series that I fucking need. Punch-Out for the goddamn, you know, Punch-Out for Switch 2. That's what I need, you know. And I would tell Louis to buy that game to the fucking moon if we did. If we got it, and I'm not joking about this, if we got a Punch-Out for the Nintendo Switch 2, do you know how fast I'm asking Louis to buy a fucking Switch 2? I don't give a shit. Buy me a Switch 2 just to play that bitch. Like, it is ridiculous how quick I would ask. Like, dude, I'd be like, Louis, Switch 2, Punch-Out. It's back, baby. I need it now. You know what I mean? That's literally what I would tell him. I would tell him, yo, get your money saved up. Fuck all your plans. Sorry, bro. Need the Switch 2 right now. And I need to play that Punch-Out series right now. That new Punch-Out game that dropped, I need to play it right now. I need to get everybody in my chat. Everybody needs to come along over. I'm playing a new Punch-Out. This is not a fan game. This is not a ROM-hack. It's a Punch-Out. It's a new one. It's actually a new one. I would tell y'all, get in here. Watch me play this shit. Because this is about to be fucking hype. And rage-inducing at the same time. Because I already know how Punch-Out already, you know, leads me towards and stuff, you know, or a lot of things lead me towards these days. Simba Nodes or Nades, welcome. But yeah, man, it's just goddamn. What you been on Mario? What the? I to be real with you, I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I think it's weird, but it isn't the first time I've seen Sonic with a human being. So, especially because Mario and Sonic are friends, but that makes it worse. But my point is, God. One day, I hope maybe someone at Punch Out, or maybe someone one day, maybe Mike Tyson gets enough money to make that new Punch Out game and him as the ultimate threat. You know, maybe one day. I mean, he said Mike Tyson wanted to make a new one, but yet we've seen none of that, which kind of bothers me. But I know how much it costs to make a single game nowadays. You know, I know how much it costs to get a company and multiple people running it and whatnot and so on and so forth. But if we get a new Punch-Out game one day, I would love to be a part of it. Like, I'd love to be a part of that legit writing team and staff making the game and, you know, I'd love to be a part of it. But then it kind of ruins the fun of, you know, then it ruins the fun of me, like, not knowing what to do and whatnot and thinking some of these dudes are impossible. Because, don't get me wrong, I love knowing what to do, but I'm telling you, once I mastered all the Punch-Out games and knew when they were going to strike me and how to dodge it for the most part, that shit got boring, bro. Like, I'm talking about, like, I mean, it was satisfying mastering them and then knocking them down, especially Punch-Out Wii. Punch-Out Wii did that game. And Punch-Out Wii, that was phenomenal, learning how to three-star knock out somebody with the Star Punch. Fucking love that. Punch-Out Wii was so satisfying with that. Same with Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was so satisfying with that. Thank you, Watermelon BS, on the collection. I got so much more. I made a video game toy plush collection video. You should check that out because I think it's important that people check out. If you guys want to see like my collection of video games or my collection of plushies, you know, you should check that shit out if you want to. But anyways, I think I'm done. And this is why Punch-Out leaves me in a void. I want people to know that Punch-Out for a long time, I might see after homework. Shit, go ahead, do what you gotta do, you know? This is me, right? Every single time I tell people something, when they apologize to me or something by, hey man, sorry for not stopping by stream, I had schoolwork, I had my life to deal with. I'm like, bro, it's your life, bro. Deal with everything you gotta do, you know, before you even consider watching me, man. I don't like it when people say, hey man, hey man, I watch your videos instead of doing my schoolwork. I would tell you literally straight up, go do your schoolwork before you watch me, fam. Get everything you gotta do done. Don't make me more important than what you got going on in your life. Do not do that. Because then it will fuck your opportunities over, you know? And I don't want that. If you make a video, remember me in comments. Hey, I'll remember you, Watermelon BS. Just pop in stream back one day and, you know, with the same name, and then I'll freaking remember you. Because I got names, like, in my brain, like a damn catalog, you know? But yeah, that's just me on how I feel when it comes to Punch-Out leaving me feeling like I'm in a void multiple times over the span of this year, you know, not having enough Punch-Out games for me to play, no new one in sight, the series kind of died out for a lot of people, or me included, or whatever. That's why Punch-Out Wii went, man, you know, because I was getting tired of the game, you know, like, I broke that game because of, you know, not knowing what else to do in the game anymore, not really playing, well, I've been playing it like that all the time, but it's only contender mode every fucking time, you know, it used to be contender mode and tower defense, but then I got sick of tower defense, But anyways, I'm done. This is my experience for the day. And I'll actually talk about like another boxing game that I did give some more time into one day, probably a little bit after, but now I'm probably just gonna go do Kirby for like an hour, 2 hours, something. It's Kirby in the Forgotten Land because we need to go play that. It's been a little bit since we played. And yeah, I'm gonna see you guys in a little bit. Might upload shorts today, maybe. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Peace.